Hi guys, this is Vaish from Vaish IAS. Today we are going to give you the second video of a CTS series, that is Confusing Topics Simplified, and the topic for today is Popular International Groupings. So as you see in this slide, we have a lot of international groupings, whether it be in the Asian continent or whether it be an economic forum. There are different groupings which are created for enhancing trade or economic relation between different countries. So this video is not to zoom into each of the groups, but to give you a comparative idea strictly for prelims, so that at least you know the member countries of each of this group and why was it formed, and maybe small information like where is the headquarters of each of these groups. So we are just trying to give you information on such comparative analysis of these groups. So let's see one by one. So what we have done is we have grouped similar kind of groups in one slide so that you can understand what is the difference of it. So like you see here we will be dealing with first one, the SAARC. SAARC, obviously you see in the news almost every day. The headquarters of it is Kathmandu, and SAARC, it stands for South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. So like the name suggests, it's the countries which is there in South Asia, and the trick used for remembering this SAARC is, I think it's common now and most of you would be already knowing it, MBBS pain. That is the trick which we use. So the countries are Maldives, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Afghanistan, India and Nepal. The benefit of studying this trick is, now using this trick and removing just one or two countries, similar kind of groups you can memorize. This SAARC is actually, it's very new, it's in the news recently. Actually, if you see, I have put IMF here. So India along with IMF have come up with this idea of forming a group called SAARC. So SAARC is actually South Asian Regional Technical and Training Assistant Cooperation. So it's for technical training. With the help of IMF, this group is being formed. So this one is actually the same countries which is there in SAARC, but only difference is Pakistan and Afghanistan is not there. So if you see the trick, it's like the PA is removed, MBBS in. So this is the same set of countries, 6 countries here. Here it was 8 countries, here it is 6 countries, removing Pakistan and Afghanistan. So this is SAARC. Also this IMF point you have to remember, because that can also be asked in prelims. Then we have SASEC, but before going to SASEC, I need to tell you what is BBIN. BBIN is again Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, who have been who formed a group for their own internal coordination for connectivity or economic cooperation. Initially when they were formed, they were also called the SAGQ, that is the South Asian Growth Quadrangle. So they formed this group, but after this they had approached the Asian Development Bank, ADB. I forgot to mention here, similar to IMF, we have another bank, ADB, Asian Development Bank, which we'll be dealing later. So when BBIN approached ADB, they decided to form another group that is called the SASEC, for South Asian Economic Cooperation, South Asian Sub-Regional Economic Cooperation it is. So here again, if you see, Pakistan and Afghanistan is not there. Here I have mentioned ADB. So ADB along with BBIN, they came together to form SASEC. So SASEC, the headquarters is at Manila, because Manila is the headquarters of Asian Development Bank. So same is the headquarters for SASEC. So here if you see, Myanmar is an addition. Instead of Pakistan and Afghanistan, they have added Myanmar. So MBBS MIN it will be. So like this, addition of one country to SAARC is SASEC. So when you study like this, the good thing is you will be able to remember or differentiate between each of these groups and why was it formed. So I hope it's clear till now. The last one is BIMSTEC, which is in the news recently because India is trying to separate Pakistan or keep away Pakistan from all the international discussions which they are having in the South Asian region after the different kind of terrorist attacks or the LOC crossing border violation and all. So BIMSTEC is in news because India is trying to promote it a lot nowadays. So here again, here the country names, BIMSTEC actually stands for Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical Education, Technical and Economic Cooperation. So this is actually, if you see, Bay of Bengal region of the South Asia. So there, if you see, you have to include the eastern countries like Myanmar and Thailand. So here the trick would be, what we have formed is BIMST will be there, and along with that Nepal and Bhutan will be there. So these two are actually, if you see the order in which the countries joined is also same. Nepal and Bhutan are the ones which joined at the last into this grouping. So BIMST and Bhutan, Nepal. This is how you can remember. So I hope SARC, SARTEC, BBIN, SASEC and BIMSTEC is clear now. Also remember this point of IMF with SARTEC and ADB with SASEC, which was formed after merging with BBIN. Okay, so these were 5 initial groups. Now we'll see some more groups. ASEAN, RCEP and East Asian Summit, EAS. These 3 I have took together because the country names are like each one would be a subset. Already these 3 groupings were explained in my first video of this channel. When we are launching this channel, we just gave an idea of what all will be covered in this channel. So I'll tell you again anyway. So ASEAN, the headquarters are here, Jakarta. RCEP it will be Singapore. RCEP it will be Singapore. And East Asian Summit, it doesn't have a specific secretariat for it. So if you see the country names for ASEAN, ASEAN is actually Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So like the name suggests, it's the Southeast Asian part of the world. So the trick we use is BPL TV mimics. So Brunei, Philippines, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, Myanmar, Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia, Singapore. So if you have a rough idea of the map of Southeast Asia, it's actually very easy to list down these countries if you know this mnemonic, BPL TV mimics. Okay, and it has a total of 10 countries. So try remembering that way. RCEP is a new forum, Regional Cooperation for Economic Partnership, which is again headquarters in Singapore, and it is actually having all the 10 countries of ASEAN plus 6 other countries. So India is also part of it actually. So if you see, the first 10 are same after Singapore. Then India, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, China, Japan. You can remember this way because Australia, New Zealand almost comes together everywhere. China, Japan, India, South Korea. These are the 6 additional countries in RCEP along with ASEAN. Third, East Asian Summit. Recently, these summits had happened. This will be again ASEAN plus this 6 plus again 2 more countries, that is USA and Russia, which is the 2 superpowers or 2 old superpowers during the Cold War era. So ASEAN, RCEP, EAS, all these 3, even though like it has 10 countries, 16 countries and 18 countries, but even though it has 18 countries, now it's very easy to remember them. I'll tell you the reason why we are trying to memorize this or remember this, because prelims questions are now becoming so weird at times. They are asking even the member countries of regional groupings which are in news. Only if they are in news it will be asked. So these summits have happened recently, so you have to remember them. Because it will take maximum 2 minutes, 3 minutes to remember the way which we are trying to teach you through these tricks. So just go through this, and just before prelims maybe you can go through it again. We'll see some more groupings. OPEC, G20, G7, G4. Okay, so OPEC is actually very easy to remember. One second. The OPEC countries, the trick which we use is Aqua Whale Skin GEI. I'll tell you the reason why this trick is made. Actually, it's not made by me. I had got it from some friend long back. Maybe some website was teaching about it. So Aqua Whale, because all these countries, it's actually the oil, the countries which in oil, and it is all closer to the sea, meaning it's not landlocked countries. Almost all these countries are near to the sea, so you can remember this aqua. And whale, because almost every country is a Muslim country, so aqua whale skin, to protect their skin. That's how we made up this method to teach students. So aqua whale skin and GEI. Why this came extra? Because initially these were not part of it, or it was like going out of the group and again coming in. So these countries were like dynamic. So aqua whale skin G is the trick for OPEC countries, petroleum exporting countries. So here, using this trick, the country names are Algeria, Qatar, UAE, Angola, Venezuela, Ecuador, Iraq, Libya, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iran, Nigeria. Aqua whale skin is up to here. Then Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, and Indonesia. Indonesia is actually not a member now, so that is the reason I told. This GEI is actually fluctuating and keeps coming in or out. If you read the Wikipedia of the same OPEC countries, you will see that one country is coming in and again going out, so it keeps happening. But the top 12 countries, I think it's almost constant. Aqua, whale, skin. So this is how you remember the OPEC countries, which is almost everything is in the Middle East and in African region, and one or two in South America. And we have highlighted 5 countries here. This is because just to tell you which were the 5 initial countries which started the OPEC. OPEC was started with 5 countries: Venezuela, Iraq, Saudi, Kuwait and Iran. So whiskey, this is the name, if in case, but I don't think UPC will go such deep into such groupings because India is not a member of this group. But still, in case you need to know, we have just mentioned VISKI is the initial 5 countries of OPEC. Now G20, G7 and G4. This G20 trick is again not mine. I had learnt it somewhere long back. It's actually very lengthy and I don't think it will be ever asked. G20. One thing is, like, it does not have a permanent headquarters. It keeps changing. Like, it has its meetings here and there every year. So the trick which I had learnt long back was this thing. Hindi statement: Guruji, Sita, Ab, SSC, FCI, May. It was a statement actually, May kaam karti hai or something. So this is the mnemonic they used, and actually it's easy for G20 because every popular country you know is a part of G20. Any country which comes to your mind when you think of these letters G, U, R, U, J, just write down those names in order, whichever comes into your mind, which is a popular country. It will be part of it. Only exception is Malaysia is not there. This M in this mnemonic or this trick is actually for Mexico. So Malaysia alone, I saw one question, one of the website which was conducting some prelims mocks. They had this question: which of the following is not a part of G20? And they had given Malaysia in the option. So people think like Malaysia is also, like, Indonesia is a part, so they'll think like Malaysia is also a part. But that is one exception of one popular country which I feel. The rest, everything, if you see, Germany, USA, Russia, UK, Japan, India, Saudi Arabia, Italy, Turkey, Australia, Argentina, Brazil, South Korea, South Africa, China, France, Canada, Mexico, Indonesia, and E is actually for European Union. So almost everything is a country which is a popular country or doing at least better compared to other African countries or underdeveloped countries. So it's quite easy. You don't need to study it by heart, but we have just mentioned this because we saw a question for G20 in one of the prelim mock of one website. So this is G20. G7 and G4 it's still a possible question because it's a smaller group, and it's also easy. So this is the trick which we made: FCI, JBug and Big J. G7 initially it was actually G8, but Russia is no longer part of it because of the sanctions on it, because of its activity in related to the Crimea issue. That we'll deal it in some other video, but you have to remember, like, Russia is not a part now. It was initially G8, but now it is G7, and this is the trick FCI JBug. And to make this trick, actually B is actually Britain. Instead of UK, we made it Britain just for forming this mnemonic. So you have to remember this. And if you see, China is not a part here. It is Canada. So if you see, Asian countries is actually only Japan is there. Remaining everything is like European or American countries: France, Canada, Italy, Japan, Britain, USA, Germany, and also European Union is there. So FCI JBug, that is the G7 countries, which meets to discuss on global issues of terrorism or climate change and all those things. So that is G7. G4 is actually those 4 countries which are trying to get a permanent seat in the United Nations. Like now, you know, United Nations have the 5 countries: P5, USA, Russia, UK, France, China, 5 countries. And P5 plus 1, sometimes they tell, along with Germany, they'll tell like P5 plus 1. So that Germany is actually present here also in G4. So G4 is actually those countries who are developing at a very high rate now, and they are trying to get a permanent seat in United Nations. So it is Brazil, India, Germany and Japan. So I hope this is clear. OPEC, G20, G7 and G4. Now we'll see one more slide. It's actually much simpler. Here we don't have much to learn and all, because BRICS is very popular now. Again, when every report, like recently the Global Hunger Index came, or the Global Gender Gap Index. So whenever it comes, comparative study is done of India with respect to these countries. They will tell like India is the worst among BRICS, performing worst among BRICS. India is the third among BRICS countries. So BRICS is becoming popular nowadays, and the name is also easy to remember because the names stand for that: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Initially, South Africa was not a part of it. It was BRIC countries, and in 2010, I think South Africa joined, and it became BRICS. And it has its own bank now, New Development Bank (NDB), whose headquarters is Shanghai. So BRICS as such doesn't have a headquarters, but I just wanted to mention like the New Development Bank here, whose headquarters is Shanghai in China. So this is BRICS. Similar to NDB, actually I'll mention one more thing. There is another bank, Asian Development Bank, which we saw in the previous slide. Asian Development Bank, the headquarters is Manila in Philippines. And there is one more bank, AIIB. Maybe banks we can do it in some other video. AIIB is actually again with headquarters in Beijing. That's also again for Asian infrastructure and those development kind of funding they will do. So AIIB is another bank. Three banks are there: NDB, ADB, and AIIB. Maybe we can do a separate table for that later. Now Mercosur is actually another grouping which is not so popular in the news, but just wanted to mention it because it has only 4 countries, and the headquarters is Montevideo, which is the capital of Uruguay, and Uruguay is a part of it actually. So all these are actually South American countries, Latin American countries. So the trick we made is BAPU, Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay, which are also famous for football. All these countries. So whichever way you want to remember, you can remember this. BAPU is a part of Mercosur. It's not so important, but just mentioning. SCO is in news, and it is important because India recently became a member of SCO. SCO stands for Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So SCO, the headquarters is again Beijing in China, and the trick which we made is PIC truck, in which PI is Pakistan and India, which were the latest members who joined to SCO grouping. So PIC truck and K truck, if you see, it's all the Central Asian countries, where C is China and the remaining are Central Asian countries, all the Stan which we know. Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Russia is also part, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan. One thing you have to remember is one of the country, that is Turkmenistan, is not involved here. Turkmenistan is actually a kind of neutral country. It usually does not join any grouping. Like Switzerland in Europe, they remain neutral, and most of the headquarters of most of the groupings will be in Geneva and Switzerland. They do not join any grouping as such. Similarly, Turkmenistan in Asia prefers to remain neutral and does not join the groupings. So PIC truck is an mnemonic where PI is for Pakistan, we have Russia and China, and the remaining 4 are the Central Asian countries. So remember, India has joined it recently, so it becomes important. TPP is also in the news because after Trump has become the president, he has opted to move out of TPP. Initially it had 12 countries, and after that now, because US is not there, it has 11 countries. It doesn't have a headquarters as such, and actually we couldn't make a proper mnemonic for it also. But how you can remember is like, if you know the map properly, you don't need any trick, because Trans-Pacific Partnership is the name. So all the countries which are like aligned or nearby to the Pacific coast comes under it. 11 countries are there. So we just tried making random mnemonics, but nothing could make anything like this PIC truck or something which could be readable. So what we did is, what we personally remember is a PC ban. Like, ban is happening on 3 things: MJ, VS, and CM. 3 things are being banned. That's how we remember. So Peru, Chile, Brunei, Australia, New Zealand. See, always when Australia is there, New Zealand will be there. Vietnam, Singapore, Malaysia, Japan. US is not there right now. Mexico, Canada. So I don't know which trick would be suitable for you, but because it's in news, it's better to have a glance at the 11 countries which are there in present, because they had a recent meeting also after USA had withdrawn from it. So that is about TPP. Then GCC, this is the one actually 2016 prelims had a question. They gave 4 countries, 4 options, and asked like which is not a part of GCC. So many students do not even have an idea what is GCC. GCC is actually Gulf Cooperation Council. So Gulf, when it comes, you will know, like, it's the Middle East countries around the Persian Gulf. So another thing is Iran. Iraq is not a part. Actually, Iran was the answer for that question. The first option A was Iran, and they gave other three countries from this six. So the trick, actually, we had done even before prelims on our Facebook page. We had given this trick. So those who have seen that trick, I think they would have answered for 2016 prelims. So now I think it's a good time to have an idea of all these groupings, so that you don't miss a question in prelims 2018. So QBox, if you know the mnemonic, it's very easy if you know the map, because all these are from the same Persian Gulf region: Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, Oman, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. So this is GCC country. And last one is IBSA, IBSA. And here also there is no mnemonic answers, because it's same: India, Brazil, South Africa. And it's not so important, not much in the news, but just mentioning. So this, I think, about 15 to 18 groups we have done in this limited time of 20-25 minutes, and it will be very useful for you, because it's like one stop. This one video will give you a good coverage to learn if you are a fresher also, or if you want to revise, and just before prelims you can again go through it. So this is what we wanted to convey through this CTS series 2. Now we'll again think of some new topic. We have a lot of topics in mind. You can also suggest, and please give feedback, because only few people gave their feedback yesterday for the first episode. So if the more feedback we get, the more suggestions we get, we can make it better for you and give you an idea of these kind of confusing topics. So this is our Facebook page. Please like the page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, give your suggestions, keep learning. Thank you. Have a nice day.